Hi everyone, welcome back to Cyber Talk with Nikolay show. So today we're going to be discussing what 2025 holds in our cyber store for us, and primarily I'd like to focus on role of AI that plays in cybersecurity. We can definitely all can predict the same thing that we're going to have more incidents, and we're going to say that they're going to be a lot more exciting than they ever been. But I'd like to see and I'd like to take conversation into the direction what we can do and how AI is going to shape what 2025 is going to look like. And potentially there are different areas we're going to branch out or talk about, and you'll hear all of it. So we have special guests today, Malcolm Harkins from HiddenLayer and Scott Scheferman from Trusted AI. So they're going to help us with answering some of the questions, and we're going to hear their perspective. So if I can direct attention to Malcolm and Scott right now, so if you have a few words to say before we begin.
Go for it,
Go
Scott.
ahead, Malcolm. I'll go quickly. Thank you again, Nikolai, for having us on the show. I love both of you. I've been on many shows with both of you before. Always fun. Super excited to talk about this topic in particular. I've just been going down this rabbit hole so deeply the last 3 or 4 months, all on my own, just independently, and exploring different kind of concepts and actually looking at a lot of the companies lately in cyber that have been trying to not just apply AI to cyber, but rather apply cyber to AI, if that makes sense. So, looking forward to the conversation.
Yeah, I am incredibly looking forward to this conversation as well. And Scott, I think you kind of hit on a couple things. I think when we think about AI and cybersecurity, there's a couple areas to break it down in. There's AI used to improve cybersecurity, increase our efficiency and effectiveness. There's what threat actors will do, which is use AI as a tool to attack. And then there's the need for AI itself and its tech stack to be protected because the existing cybersecurity controls don't protect AI models because they weren't built to. They don't look at the file types, the model types, and that type of stuff. So I think we can dissect it into again AI used to improve security, attackers using AI to thwart other existing defenses and deepfakes and all that stuff. And again, the fact that we have a requirement and need to protect the AI models themselves with purpose-built capability to do that.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, that sounds great, guys. So let's just hop into it. So I'm pretty sure you've heard from World Economic Forum in 2023 and 2024 situation hasn't really changed. So they've done survey through a lot of organizations to understand better what people are worried about, what executives are worried about, and how AI is impacting cybersecurity. So they ask simple question is who do you think is going to benefit more, threat actors or defenders? And almost by ratio 4-1, the answer was that threat actors going to benefit more. So having said that, how do you guys see this being played out in 2025 with AI and what it's going to deliver in cybersecurity? What do you see? How it's going to affect and which direction is it going to go? Are we going to benefit more? Maybe. Are we always going to be providing all this nice tool to threat actors and then we have to catch the hit from them?
Well, I mean, would you like to go first, Malcolm?
Yeah. I'll start this one off first. So I think it depends upon the organization. There are many organizations that I'd say are proactive, forward leaning, not only in innovating in the use of technology, AI as an example, but also innovative and forward looking in their approach to managing risk. Those that are early adopters of new technology and then also early adopters of new controls and new ways to manage risk, I think they're going to do fairly well. I think those that always, frankly, wait until something bites them in the ass or waits and reacts after a news headline, well, guess what? They're going to get owned like they always have. And those are going to be the people in the headlines. So I think it's really going to depend upon which organization you're in and how well you can manage it.
Yeah, that's just hearing your voice and hearing what you just said reminds me so much of late 2016, and then early 2017 WannaCry hit, and then NotPetya right after that. And all of a sudden we woke up to realize that ransomware is more than just a financial, extortion mechanism. It's a way to destroy entire companies and put them out of existence. And so we haven't had, I don't think, that for that watershed moment for AI either being used or being attacked in order to cause a watershed moment like that yet. But when you look at the research that, like the Google's team did recently and other research, you start to realize that I have the same opinion as the Davos responders, which is that I do think in the near term that attackers will leverage AI better and more readily than we will successfully do so to protect against those actors, right? And the reason for that has to go back to my original philosophy around cyber in general, going back to about 2015 area, that it's really not just about sophistication, it's about speed and velocity, and which one of the actors, the defender or the attacker, moves more quickly to identify a choke point that precludes the other from succeeding, whether it's offense, defense, offense. And so we take that old adage that attackers, defenders have to be right all the time, and attackers only have to be right once. And I've always liked to turn that on its head and say, not so fast. A defender only has to be right once if they're right where it matters most to defend and identify and stop an attacker. And I don't think this industry yet really knows where that choke point lies just yet. Most people are just getting their head around these concepts. I don't think our vernacular is even appropriate. Our cyber language is not quite right. It's not about security. It's more about AI safety or security in a layman's term versus a cyber term. Like, we have to rethink about what we mean when we say we want secure AI or to secure AI. What does that verb actually mean? We don't really have the vernacular yet. So I think in the near term, attackers are going to use it to outpace defenses. And that's the best way I know how to articulate it, is to put it in the context of speed.
Yeah, I agree with you, Scott, but I will challenge you on one thing. I do think we know what it means to secure AI. I just think that people in some cases aren't doing it and they're kicking the can down the road. If you look at every other thing that we do today in systems and in security, we do vulnerability scanning. Why? To identify vulnerabilities in code, identify vulnerabilities in operating systems and on devices. Well, guess what? We need to do model scanning. When we scan the model, we can determine if there's already embedded malicious code, if there's malicious callouts, if it's compromised in some way, to give you that assurance in your upfront security development lifecycle, right? We sign code today. Well, we could sign models today. We can do other integrity checking. The notion of logging and monitoring. We log or monitor almost every interaction in an application and operating system on a device. Well, do logging and monitoring of the inputs and outputs of your AI models, right? So the same concepts of security and hygiene and stuff apply. It's just they have to be implemented purpose built to AI. I mean, we need AI inventories. We need an AI bomb. We've talked about an S bomb. Why not an AI bomb? Why not a data bomb? Right? All of those are supply chain components. So it's the same concepts. It's just how you purpose build them and alter your processes and get specific technologies to manage and mitigate those risks.
I'll caveat what I said, then Malcolm, and I'll say, when I said we don't know how, I didn't mean the three of us, and it's certainly not you, and certainly not organizations that you work with and around. And I would say, I'm partially the way there. I have a lot of ideas and experience on securing AI. But when I say we, I mean honestly just society, and let alone business leaders, right? So that I kind of meant the broader we. I think there's a lot of business leaders that are leaning forward enough to say we should probably be doing something to secure AI, and not just AI, but because it's such a broad term, it's almost nebulous. But what we're doing with AI, right? Like you said, the inputs and outputs, and just like in cybersecurity, you don't just do cyber to do cyber, right? You do cyber so that you don't have an impact that cause you, I'm going to use the term, Malcolm, material impact, right?
Yeah,
You know,
trying to address
going
the
back to a
risk, right?
conversation we've had before, right?
If
So,
if
and
it
so
if
we're,
it's a model that just creates an ankle biter issue, your need to do much to manage that risk is negligible. If it's a
Yeah.
model that could be used as a point of access and a point of lateral movement and distribution of malware, well, then you need to do more, right? If it's a model that is critical to a business process or revenue, again, then you need to do more, right? And so context is king, and it always has been. And understanding the
yeah.
context of the AI model and how it could create impact, to your point, is the key to then figuring out the best way to manage and mitigate that risk.
Hmm, interesting. So, how if we change the question and say how AI is going to help us to secure environments versus how we're trying to secure AI? So far, I've seen a lot of conversations and a lot of I hate to say it buzzwords, but it's becoming buzzwords, and everyone is slapping that we have AI powered system, we have AI this, AI that, and it's hard for somebody to say, like security practitioners, to come in. It's like, how would I validate that you're actually tools using AI versus yesterday it wasn't? So yesterday, the same tool that I've been using it for years didn't do anything related to AI, and all of a sudden we have this label that appeared on a tool. It's like, okay, we are powered by AI, and we do this advanced analytics. And to me, I'm looking at the same thing today that I was looking yesterday, and I always trying to understand is like, is it actually helping? Is there some pixie dust in the bag that's called AI? Somebody sprinkled on this particular software package, and it helps me somehow to do things. I've seen where it's done for business cases where people were not able to do certain things before, and it works very well. And you can interact with it, and you can understand it, and you can appreciate the feedback it gives. But from security perspective, kind of like big question is like, are we going to see something that people will say, yes, I definitely can see the effect of AI is having right now on helping defenders to defend better, or to stay at least closer to threat actors like you described?
Yeah, to be honest, it doesn't matter if it's AI or whatever pixie dust somebody throws on it. At the end of the day, it's all about the efficiency and effectiveness of control, whether it's using
Mhm.
AI or not. So the question just really becomes: are you getting efficiency and effectiveness by the AI that was introduced, or are you frankly getting marketing bullshit from a cybersecurity vendor who's slapping a label on it in order to sell a product and catch the wave, which the FTC has started going after some companies, not necessarily cyber companies, but some companies for misleading in their
Yeah.
advertising marketing on their use of AI. Now, if you're getting whether it's a cybersecurity tool, a sales and marketing tool, an HR tool, and somebody's embedding AI in it, then the job becomes one of, okay, well, what's the risk of that? Well, and again, when we think about AI being embedded into tools, our job is to manage risk. So we need to evolve our third-party risk management processes and ask every vendor who's supplying services to our companies questions like, where did the model come from? Did they scan the models for malicious code? How do they know if it's poisoned or not? Do they log and monitor model interactions? How are they dealing with the OWASP to LLM top 10? What's their threat model for AI related attacks? And is it aligned to the MITRE Atlas framework? Right? What are their AI incident response policies? How do they validate the integrity of the data presented? Those are again all things that we should do, whether it's a cybersecurity tool that is coming to us with AI in it or any other tool.
So here's what I would add to this. Because I know, Nikolay, you like to always lean forward and think about the future or this year, and Malcolm, you as well, with predictions. I look at this year as 2025, and other people have said this as well. this is the year of agentic AI, right? So take that as just a use case, right? Last year, the year before, LLMs, people interacting and getting to understand how to interface with AI, get value out of it. This year, agentic AI. So if you look at the word agentic, what do we mean? We mean AI that has agency, just like we do as humans, that we value as humans, right? So the agency of an AI means you have potentially, let's use cyber as a use case, the ability for an agent of AI to make decisions and take actions autonomously without a human in the loop to hit the button to do the action, to take the action, right? And so I believe by mid or late even this year, certainly 2026 by then, we will have cybersecurity solutions, for example, also financial and medical and all sorts of the use cases in the world, where you have an agentic piece of AI that's a code performing a specific task or role, could be small or large, that is directing other AIs to do the other things, and they're each taking their actions, all for an outcome. It could be a business outcome, could be cybersecurity, could be medical, saving a life. And so when you have this agentic AI context that you're probably trying to solve for, and you apply the things that Malcolm was just mentioning, the truth is that we don't have very good questions yet, let alone answers, when it comes to everything from the legal inferences of using an agentic AI to the policies that your business would want to surround an AI, to the liabilities, legal or even material impact wise, of allowing an autonomous AI to make a decision without a human in the loop, and then all of a sudden they hallucinate like they tend to do, or they get poisoned, or all these other kind of adversarial ML attacks take place, and now the output is not just bad information. The output is an action that's taken at wire speed, if you will, at the speed of computing to perform a function. And this could have cascading effects. This could have supply chain effects. This could have medical impacts, business impacts, cyber impacts as well. So I feel like if we want to start leaning forward, we better come up with the right questions to ask when it comes to an AI with its own agency, because that's right where we're headed. And the use cases are already actually quite a lot in the financial world. I've already exposed myself to agentic AI and messed with it and toyed with it, and it's really kind of weird and really kind of awesome. And I can absolutely extrapolate from that experience to say this is absolutely the way that industry is going and society is going.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us for part one with Cyber Talk with Nikolay and what 2025 holds in cyber store for us. Stay tuned for part two.
For more information, visit us at ISSQUAREDinc.com.